talking about building hot rods here. Not talking about sugarcoating. We're talking about everything. Knuckle busting. The rust in your fucking eyes. We're talking about building fucking hot rods. All right. Welcome back to It's All About the Build podcast.
All right, Matthew McConaughey.
All right. You got me, Elliot Slack, and as always, on to my left, Randy Bunting.
Hey, welcome to another episode of It's All About the Build podcast. What's up?
Oh, yeah. And tonight, or today, or this morning, or whenever the hell you're listening to this, we're bringing you perspective that you might not know about if you're unfamiliar with working in a shop.
I feel like it's something that not too many people even think about.
Well, right off the bat, our topic is going to be working in a big shop as opposed to a little shop and the benefits and cons of each.
Yeah, who is building your ride?
Yeah, who's building your ride is the title of this episode, and we're going to be talking about if you're looking for a shop to build your car, or maybe you're looking at getting into the industry. I think this is kind of going to fall into each category. So this goes out to you guys. And before further ado, here's to you. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. It's a rainy evening here in Indiana. Northern Indiana. I guess northern-ish. Huntington, Indiana. Google it. You'll find us.
North of Indianapolis and south of Fort Wayne.
Ooh, yeah. So, first off, I personally have worked in every size shop you can possibly think of, except for like extreme large shops, but
like can dig it shit. Like
I'd imagine so. I don't know how many they have. I mean, I'd imagine they got quite a bit of people working there.
Right.
You know, the only reason we're saying Ken Dig It is because, you know, that's a reference that some, like, if you're listening to this, come on, you know who the fuck Dave Kendig is and you know what Bitchin' Rides is.
Yeah, what other big shops are well known?
Well, they have that, as far as television goes, they have that show, that one in Virginia, where the guy's like, 3, 2, 1, fucking slam on the brakes.
Oh, yeah. Phantom Works.
Yeah, Phantom Works. I don't know how big that shop is. I mean, it's a big shop, but I don't know how many people work there.
Right. I know it always seemed like they were cold in that place.
Right.
They're always wearing hoodies and
if it's
jackets.
cold, that means nobody cares.
Yeah. You always
whoever's in charge doesn't give two shits about who's working there.
Every time I watch an episode, it was like you could see their breath.
Yeah.
In the episode.
Right.
Moving on.
Well, anyways, I've worked on small shops, and I've worked by myself in a shop called I.B.F.HotRods to start shit off.
As he was swinging.
He was swinging. So, and then I worked in the shop with like 4 people, 6 people, more people, less people, interviewed with big shops, little shops, medium shops, tiny shops. But there are some major key differences here when it comes to building your car or dealing with shops or even the people that are working in the shop. How about that? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, you can get some pretty nice shit built. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's quality and craftsmanship and efficiency. Like all this has to be thought about. You want to dive into small shops, big shops? What do you want to talk about, Randy?
I think we can start with big shops. In my experience, like I haven't worked as many shops as you have, obviously.
Right.
But in my experience, I think it all comes down mostly to management on projects.
Right. 100%. 1,000%.
And it's harder for, depending on who's working there, depending on who's hired there.
Right.
You might run into either the boss that's who's the project manager, or if it is a bigger shop, they would have a project manager. But if you have miscommunication between the workers and the management, the people working there aren't sufficient at what they're doing, there might be I'm not saying might. There will be issues.
Yeah. Every shop that I've worked in, the boss is the fucking manager. Even the shops that I worked in where the boss was a cool cat, every once in a while he'll fucking tell you that his name's on the side of the building.
Right.
And you're looking into something like that as far as working goes. The good thing about a big shop, we're not even going to fucking talk about bosses saying fuck you and blah, 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 whatever. The good thing about it is you got a lot of people in there. And when you got a lot of people working, they specialize in certain things. So if we were to go back to like Dave Kindig, I mean, I've never fucking toured the place or anything, but just by gathering on television and knowing people that have worked there, they're doing this.
Yeah.
You're efficient at this, and this is what the fuck you're doing.
That's their specialty, and that's what you're good at, and that's what you're sticking to.
Yeah, so as far as like if you wanted a vehicle being built, you know, you're going to, that every step of the way, they're going to have their best guy or somebody who's doing that 24/7 right there, which is a good thing, especially if, like you said, management. If management has everything flowing properly. But let's fucking be real here, Randy. If I was doing the same thing every day, I'm going to have some fucking bad days.
Right.
Like if I was doing...
Sometimes that can get old.
Oh my God. If I was doing electrical all day, every day, all day, every day, you know, fuck that shit.
I don't want to be doing that.
No, I don't want to be doing that either.
I'm pretty sure they don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, so I mean, you're going to get, you know, a situation there. Another con would be there's so many personalities in a large shop and so many butthurt individuals nowadays, and one side of the shop will somehow manipulate in their mind that they're against the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Or one part of the shop is manipulated to believing they're whatever to another side of the shop. Or if somebody is out sick or throws their fucking back out and they come back to work and the rest of the guys are like, well, fucking meh. That's the one thing I hate about.
He's not tough enough.
I hate about work. Like when I was working places, people got hurt and they were out. Well, then you were out for 3 weeks. Yeah, well, I threw my back out and I couldn't even wipe my own ass.
Yeah, right.
Because I threw my back out. But you thought I was on a fucking vacation or whatever. I was milking it. Who cares? Like, shut the fuck up, dude. You know. Anyways, that's what I mean when I'm about personalities. Which I'm sure you saw that. You worked in a pretty large shop.
Oh, yeah. Despite what you might hear, there are a lot of big egos in this business.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're doing one thing after one thing after one thing, that's all you do every day, all day. Yeah, I mean, I get it. In this business, you are working on different shit. You know, it's not the same thing, really, per se.
Well, if you're paint body guy.
If you're painting body, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, unless you're in far enough that you're doing a lot of custom designs. Yeah. Then you might have that seniority.
If you're somebody that likes to do metal work all the time.
I mean, if you really love that's good for you. I
feel like, you know, going back to Kindig, I feel like he's got a good collection of people that love what they do.
Oh yeah, I mean that's important. That's most important.
Like this dude loves doing body work.
If you're going to have that type of a business, yeah, you want those people they love what they do, and good for the shops that have that type of people.
Yeah, but I've worked for quite a bit of shops and nobody has that.
Yeah,
you know, like it's far and few between. So, like another thing is when I was working in bigger shops, I'd have to go get something. And I'd walk across the shop, and I passed 10 guys on the way over there. And then when I turned around and walked back, I passed 10 guys on the way back. And if they catch you, they're going to say hello.
Right.
And you're going to say hello. And then some people are bullshitters, so that's going on to time.
Yeah.
That's going on to time.
And some people, a lot of people don't care. They're just, there's just... they tell you about their life story, and it takes 40 minutes. And you're like, A, I'm happy for your story, and
Right.
but B,
A hoagie is a grinder, and a grinder is a hoagie.
I got to get back to work.
Yeah. Come on now.
I do enjoy some of the conversation I have with my coworkers, but sometimes there's a time and place for that.
Right. Well, I mean, everybody's on the clock, so if everybody's okay, let's say it's $100 an hour. When this guy's turning a wrench on something, it's $100 an hour. Well, when you walk over there to get something, well, you're still at $100 an hour. He's at $100 an hour. So now you're $200 an hour. And if you stood around and bullshitted for 10 minutes, you actually just stood around and bullshitted for 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. When you think about it.
Yeah.
And if you go, let's say you walked across the fucking place and you got whatever and you came back and you forgot something, you turned around and went back. Well, you passed 5 guys, you didn't talk to the fucking one guy the first time. Well, then all of a sudden, or he's got a problem, you got to stop and help him with something. It's just, it's all baloney. These are kind of things that come to my mind anyways when we're talking about bigger shops compared to littler shops. Now, granted, when it's a littler shop, you don't have the amount of people. Okay, what I'm getting at here is you got 15 guys, you got 20 guys, you got 30 guys. If you run into a situation, you know that old Jim Bob over there who's doing whatever, he used to work on this shit. So you go ask him. You get an instant answer, whether it's just as good as Googling or not.
Yeah.
But you get ideas.
Well, probably quicker than Google, most likely.
Correct. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You get a lot of different ideas and concepts that are coming in, which is a good thing. But at the same time, I feel like I've heard a lot of horror stories with bigger shops. Me personally, not saying everybody. Not saying this applies to everybody.
Obviously, it's not everybody.
Yeah. But I've heard a lot of horror stories that went to big shops and they didn't get the attention that they felt like they deserved throughout the build process. But what I mean by that is they had a build that they wanted it a certain way and they expected a certain way and they got charged an assload of money and their AC still doesn't work.
Right.
Or they didn't get the fucking lighting that they wanted, or they didn't get the custom touches that they were expecting to get. And when you're dealing with a big shop, you're dealing with a lot of customers and client. So you got to remember that your car isn't the only car in their shop, even in a small shop. Like we got 3 vehicles in the shop right now,
right,
which we bounce back and forth on. Whether it's parts or whether we got something else going on or whether we're working on this car right now or whatever.
Yeah, you can only give your attention to one thing at a time.
Right. Full attention.
Full attention.
And when you're dealing with a smaller shop, it's a little bit more tailored to you.
Oh yeah, it could even having three cars in the shop, and there's 2 of us in our shop. So I mean, at any given time, one of us is going to have full attention on one of those vehicles.
Right.
And not have 4 different guys having like half the attention on their car because you have 2 other cars that you have to jump to. Or
this client calls and he's like, you haven't worked on my fucking car in 6 months and I want the damn thing now. And they pull you off and they put you on something else. Well, that's always fun.
Yeah, and then that person's complaining.
It's funny because every place I've ever worked at that has some sort of storage or something like that, there's always that 1, 3, 4, 5 vehicles that are cool looking, that are in the shop, but they've literally, like, I talk to people that have worked at this place for 5 fucking years, and they're like, yeah, that thing's been sitting here ever since I got here.
It's like growing into the trees.
Yeah. It's growing into the fucking concrete on the floor. Yeah. Like, why aren't we working on this? What's the problem here? I don't understand the concept. How can you fucking not work on something?
The excuse is we can't get a hold of them or they owe us money.
Well, shouldn't that be in the contract and now that vehicle's yours? That's another thing. Big shops, little shops, whatever shops. If you think a fucking handshake's going to do the trick nowadays, you're fucking high, buddy.
Yeah.
And whether it's a little shop or a big shop, you need to be thinking about these things.
It's not the olden days where a handshake will get you by. It's
right.
Really not.
Right.
I mean, there's people that still do it, but there are more people who get screwed over.
There's a lot of people that still do it. A lot. I worked for one shop and actually had an example of a contract on their website, which was pretty neat. They're about the only person that I know of that had a multiple page contract, which makes perfect sense, especially in an industry like this. and California law and cancer-causing fucking parts and all this shit. Like, you got to think about this stuff, Randy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's say somebody want a paint job, calls us up. Well, I want a paint job. Well, I bring her down, right? I'm on down. Paint the car. Yeah, well, we got her in primer. I got a bill here for fucking $6,500 or fucking $8,000 or $10,000, whatever we're at. Well, I don't have the money. I'll get you a little bit today. And next thing you know, he goes MIA. He goes AWOL on your ass. You don't talk to him for three weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yep.
This thing's been sitting in my shop for how long?
That's wasted space.
Yeah. If we're talking to the individual that's looking for a shop, you got to remember this stuff. If you're scared to sign a contract, maybe you're scared to actually get this fucking car running. Maybe you need to do some fucking soul searching and be like, am I really prepared to spend money on this?
Right.
Whether it's a big shop or a little shop.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whether or not you're prepared to spend money on something, it doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah.
No matter where you go, they're still going to expect to be paid for their services, just like anything else. It's like construction work.
Right.
You don't get to build a house for free.
Yeah. A lot of times you put half down.
Right.
Or you go get your car fixed down at the shack, down at fucking Mom and Pop Oil Lube. You fucking pay them.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, my shitter's full. I need somebody to come pump my shitter. And they pump your shitter, and it's like, okay, well, I'm just only, just not going to pay them. Like, come on. Come on, people. It's like you sign a house contract. You're spending just as much money on these cars as a fucking house sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you're scared to sign a contract, what do the fuck you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, if I could understand if it's like an in and out kind of job, like weld up a suspension bracket or something, whatever.
Right. That sounds like fun.
If you're talking about getting your full car done, but from nothing to something and driving on the road, and you want to pick it up and turn the key and drive away, you have to expect some kind of a legal agreement.
Big or small shop.
Big or small.
Yeah. I'd hope I'd have a legal agreement.
It's not to scare you.
Going back to benefits of a big shop, I feel like a benefit of a big shop is there's a lot of people that know what the fuck they're doing. So as far as assembly line builds go, I think it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, but if you get a big shop that, you're just hiring anybody.
Right. That's another problem.
That's a huge con. Some of those people haven't gone to school or haven't really gained a
knowledge base.
Not just a knowledge base, but a hands-on
work experience.
Work experience. Like you got it. You have that capability.
Right.
Even if you don't go to school, you can do this without going to school, but you have to have the capability of being able to perform the
task at hand.
task that you're at hand. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
I feel like with a bigger shop, there's a lot of variables when it comes to that. And like you're saying, people coming in and out of there. The problem a lot of times with these bigger shops is people get fucking pissed off and quit.
There's a pretty big turnover, more than I expected.
Right. But at the same time, there's a lot of bullshit artists that come in and say that they can do something. They come in and they're way over the fucking head, man.
Yeah.
It took me all these years to fucking finally get where I'm at. And I feel pretty good about doing a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in my mind that I can't fucking figure out. Whether or not I'm 100% efficient at it. The attention to detail that I feel like I've gathered is what really is the most important part about being a fucking custom car builder and a classic car enthusiast. Well, not even fuck the enthusiast. A classic car restorer, builder, dare I say mechanic? Specialist. How about that?
Yeah, specialist. Yeah, that's a good one.
Because I have a vast knowledge of really, really old shit and pretty fucking new shit. And everything in between. So I'm pretty dangerous when it comes to anything, I feel like.
However you want to look at that.
Right.
Dangerous.
Yeah, right. However you want to look at that. So that's a good thing about a smaller shop is you're going to get the attention to detail for your vehicle. You get a lot of turnover in a bigger shop. Or I shouldn't say turnover, overhead. You got to remember, if you got a shop that's got 30 fucking guys in it, you know how big that shop is? You know how much the fucking overhead is in that shop?
Oh my God.
There's a reason it's $150 an hour,
Yeah,
because it costs them $40,000 a fucking month just to fucking run the place.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that. That's crazy. It's like a Fortune 500 company almost, kind of
Right.
deal.
Yeah, it's insane. And that's going to reflect in how much money you pay. Now, granted, you hope that you're going to get the attention you deserve, but if you got 15 guys working in a shop or 30 guys working in a shop or fucking even more plus, then you're going to have a lot of vehicles in there, right? So you're not just going to be able to call the owner and be like, hey, call me back. And he's going to call you back.
Yeah.
Because he's got 30 other people that he's got to deal with.
How do you even keep up with that?
Well, I mean, it's like you said, management shit.
Yeah.
But I feel a smaller shop gives you the attention. Like, we got the dude from Hawaii who messages me whatever time and says, hey, boss, can you give me a call? Or can we set up a time to talk? And I don't care if it's 11 o'clock at night. I'll do it because he's the client.
Yeah.
If I had 30 of those guys, I'd be like, well,
don't call me.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. Or, you know, it's the weekend. I'm not even going to respond till Monday.
Right.
At 10:30 after I've had my 14th cup of coffee. And then that gives you the opportunity to actually discuss throughout the build where we're headed. And when it's a smaller shop, like when you call I.B.F.HotRods, you talk to me or Randy or both. Most of the time, it's both of us at the same time.
Yeah, because
so we're both on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on the same page with whoever the hell's here, whoever's vehicle's here. And we can discuss what route we're headed on this thing. And we'll give you that attention that I feel like is custom tailor-made to you, which the only time when I was in a big shop, I spoke to the customer, one other shop I could think of, because the owner wanted to talk to him. And the owner wasn't doing any of the work. Hence the reason why I.B.F.HotRods was created, was all the work that was being done on a vehicle. The only separation was the middleman. The boss became the middleman, but he wasn't doing anything. So therefore, if I'm doing
a lot of times the boss doesn't even know what's going on.
Fuck yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So you're getting a bullshit conversation. Do you want to talk to whoever the fuck's working on your car, or do you want to talk to the face of the company? Like, I understand in certain levels of this industry and this world that we live in, yeah, it's great to talk to the owner because they're the owner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you want to talk to the owner who's actually working on your fucking car?
Yeah, that if I was paying that much money, yes, I would.
Right. I mean, that's how I feel about it. Me personally, I would want that.
As long as I know I can trust him.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
It's like buying a car. Like, the salesman comes and talks to me, and then he fucking walks over there and disappears. And you know what? This is what we can do. Just bring the manager out here, or whoever's running the fucking show back there, and give me the straight answer. We're all here for this. We know where the fucking road. We know what's going on here. Give me a price that is fair for me and fair for you. You don't need to make $10,000-$15,000 off this fucking vehicle today. It's another thing. I feel like it's a money racket when it gets too large, personally.
Yeah, and especially when they have bigger shops, they have 20 to 30 guys working there. On top of that, they charge $150 an hour or whatever it is. I don't know, 120, 130 plus.
Depending on where you're at. West Coast is pretty fucking healthy.
I mean, that's per person. And if they're lucky enough to not have so much overhead, that's a lot of money I feel like they're making.
Right.
Just by racking up their prices.
Right. Well, I mean, you can go on Google and look and see how much people are making. You want to know how much these big shops are making? Just go to Google and they'll tell you what their fucking salary is. It's pretty funny. You know, in these big shops, the owner is making on average $400,000 a year. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the owner tells you that they're fucking broke, but they just bought a new vehicle delivered from Florida or wherever the fuck.
Yeah.
That's another con about working for people in bigger shops. Bigger shops become a number. Let's face it, you become a number. Smaller shops, your value goes up, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
You become sought after, or not sought after. Yeah, I guess sought after throughout the industry whenever you are in a smaller shop, in my opinion. I feel like that's the way to go. But, you know, if you like to work with a lot of people, you like to work with a lot of people. But That's just not my bag, man. I'm not into it. Not right now.
No, because what we're trying to achieve is not. We're not trying to have a big shop. We're not trying to have a lot of people work for us.
No, because people suck.
There's not too many trustworthy people. Like the work ethic and okay. I was going to say the work ethic real quick. The work ethic and reliability, I guess I would say, along with their skill set.
Their work ethic and their liability?
Yeah, work ethic and reliability. Not liability. Yeah, liability. No, work ethic, reliability, reliability, and skill set.
Yeah. What I was saying with the money thing is like when it gets big, you have to make everybody has to make a figure. You know, everybody's got to hit a number so they can fucking keep the lights on.
Right. I mean, that's a business.
But if you were to have 30 fucking guys rolling in $150 an hour, that figure gets large.
It does.
And I could see getting manipulated into that figure and wanting more of it and being more reliant on the pay scale than it would be the build.
Yeah.
And I feel like that happened in some of the shops I worked in. They were more get it in, get it out type of deal.
Yeah.
Than it was.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say it was more get it in, get it out than it was quality.
Yeah. And going off that, like, if you think about it, if you got 30 guys working for you, we'll just say 30. That's 30 times more likely for failure.
That's a lot of people to watch over.
That's a lot of people to rely on.
Right. I shouldn't say watch over. You shouldn't have to. You should just be relying.
You shouldn't have to, but you still have to because you're the boss and you got to make sure people are doing the right thing. But how often can you really check on 30 people?
Especially if they're smoking weed in the back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Or taking a sandwich break on the clock.
I like eating sandwiches and making money too.
Yeah.
And at the same time, fuck, Subway.
You know how many times I was just sitting there on my lunch break. Like I'm clocked out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm clocked out, eating my lunch, sitting there, and I see somebody walk up, go in the fridge, take their sandwich out, not even look at the time clock.
Just roll.
Just sit there, and you'll have a conversation for a good 10, 15 minutes, and he's just sitting there eating his sandwich. And you're thinking, when are you going to clock out for that lunch break there?
Right.
And that person's paying for that.
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Like, even if you have a good manager, you still got to, that's 30 guys that you got to pay attention to.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've shit on the clock throughout my career of working for people?
Especially when they're like clockwork. They're like, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the thing, dude. Like, having people working that are in such a large shop, like, don't get me wrong, there's, the 9-to-5ers. People can work the 9-to-5ers and be, that's what they want to do with their life. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But that mentality is not something that I want 30 fucking people to have.
No.
I want 30 fucking people or 15 people or 10 people or 3 people or 4 people to have the mentality of this is fucking what I love and this is what I want.
And the morale of that place is going to determine how that goes.
You could get cancer, and then if your fucking boss is a pushover and he can't fire somebody, then that cancer's just going to stay there. And it's going to fucking screw everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible. And you're the dumb shit that gave them $150,000 to build a car. And everybody hates each other.
Yeah.
You think that's going to be a fucking good thing for your shop, for your car?
No, I wouldn't think so.
But if you can talk to the guy, like every client that I have and every client that we have since starting all this stuff, I feel like I can break bread with them and drink a beer or a glass of wine or fucking shot of tequila.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Yeah.
Not in that order, but I feel like that's the type of people that I.B.F.HotRods
looks
for. And I feel like that's the type of people that anybody really wants to work with. We're building hot rods here. We're not, I would rather it feel like a relationship more than it like a friendly relationship more than it is like a transaction.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I feel like a bigger shop it would turn into more of a transaction. Working with some of these people, the one guy that we're working with, he's had another vehicle built somewhere else. And he's like, I paid a fuckload of money for this shop. That's a big shop and a well-known shop. And I didn't get what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just got the vehicle here, went through everything and told him how we were going to go about it and went back and forth with him. He's like, dude, you've only organized all the parts and figured shit out and figured out what route we're going to go. He's like, I already feel better than I ever have throughout the entire build of a shop whose name is fucking huge on the map.
Yeah.
Than I ever have with them at any point in time with any of the build, which is crazy because
that makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does. As long as the whole fucking build goes that way, that's all I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can get that places. When you watch some of these shows on TV, of course they're going to show the happy-go-lucky times with the customers have with the owner or the manager or whatever.
Yeah, but they don't show everything.
They show the glorified shit. They show 10 seconds of any of it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But I know with a smaller shop, you're going to get the attention your vehicle deserves, in my opinion. And a lot of times a smaller shop, as long as they don't have a whole fucking ass load of cars in the back, like, you can tell a lot about a shop just by talking to people, talking to the owner and stuff like that, and figure out exactly what's going on. Asking good questions is what you should be shooting for.
Right.
How long until my car's going to get worked on? If I bring it to you, is it going to sit in a fucking garage on the property for 3, 4, 5 years? Some people's mentality of getting your vehicle there is getting your vehicle there.
Yeah, just get it here and
hold it hostage.
Right.
Because that's kind of what's happening. Well, not kind of. That's exactly what's happening.
Kind of forced to wait.
Right.
Kind of forcing you.
Yeah, and then or they get other vehicles in, and then they just put you to the back burner, put you to the back burner,
Yep.
put you to the back burner. Mm-hmm. And these smaller shops, your car's here, your car's getting worked on every day. It's not getting bounced around to 5 different fucking cars, 6 different cars. It's not like I've worked in plenty of big shops where I came in, started working there, car's half done, and these people tore it all apart, but these people are putting it together. Why in the fuck would you have somebody tear it apart and somebody else put it back together? But it's 4.5 years apart from each other because you've only dicked around with it off and on throughout 1 year.
I hope you took pictures.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that fucking happens, Randy. Even whenever we have conversations, like I worked in shops where even the boss stood up in front of everybody and like, we're going to take pictures. We're going to document, and picture. And then we get a brand new vehicle in, not a new vehicle, but a new build in. And the first thing everybody does is fucking, when you get in the shop, tear it apart. I even started taking pictures of this thing because my dumb ass thought, I'd be fucking proactive. And they said, get out of the way. They're like,
no shit.
You don't need to take that many pictures. Dude, I'm documenting every fucking square inch of this in a photo. It's not going to really take that long, but it's going to be extremely beneficial.
It'll take you 10 extra minutes
Yeah.
just to save you 10
minutes.
extra hours.
Absolutely. So that's another thing. These smaller shops, they're doing stuff properly. They're not relying on, they're making sure it's getting done properly. They're not relying on fucking 15 other guys to do it. And somebody didn't do it that day. Or guess what? I fucking quit.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Like, when you're dealing with a smaller shop, you get a closer knit group of individuals. Unless the boss knows it all. It's kind of a gray area. As a client, it's going to be difficult to see that. And also as somebody who's trying to get a job somewhere in a shop, it's a gray area. But it only takes me about 2 weeks of watching and then 2 more weeks of testing the waters before I quit. Or if I want to stick it out a little bit longer. Another thing is, a smaller shop knows where everything is. A bigger shop, you rely on a lot more people to put shit in a lot more fucking places.
Mm-hmm. I know. I mean, I'm guilty of it. Like another thing with these bigger shops, you get so many people that if they don't know something, they'll go to somebody else and ask a question, and that person comes off that project, goes over there and helps them, and it could take 10 minutes, could take an hour. It's just the way it is sometimes in this business. Not everybody knows everything, but how many people are going to that person? Like if you have a big shop and you get that one guy that knows a lot, and you have 15 other guys or whatever that don't know what they're doing at that moment. I mean, you could have at least a couple people coming up to one person at one time to ask them a question, and they're off that project for who the hell knows how long. It could be all day. It could be 2 days.
Yeah. And then once they get off that project, somebody else has another fucking question.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. It's the way you learn.
Yeah, it is the way you learn, but it's like a never-ending cycle.
But then you might think about making that guy a manager.
Yeah.
But then if your boss is a turd ball, no, you can't have the management role.
Nobody can have management.
No. You're not allowed to have a management role. Are you crazy? That might actually be somewhat productive.
Right.
Could you imagine if somebody overseed everything and made sure it was done properly? Could you imagine how horrible that would be, Randy?
God forbid consistency.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another thing, man. Like, just because the fucking place looks the part doesn't mean it is the part.
No shit.
Like, if the fucking... Okay, let's think about this. If the owner acts like a fucking ass clown, I'm pretty sure you don't want to work with him. Like, really fucking do your due diligence here. If you're a good judge of character and you're like, I don't know about this guy, move on down the line.
Yeah.
And if you're basing your build, somebody building your car off of price tag, maybe it's not time to fucking do it. Because oftentimes when I get phone calls and I'm talking to somebody and the first thing they ask is what your hourly rate is, and my conversation's going to dwindle down and I'll get back to you, because I don't mean to be a dick or anything. There's a difference between somebody who wants to know what your hourly rate is right off the bat as opposed to somebody who wants to get their fucking car built.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. If you're worried about money right off the bat, then I don't think your mindset's in the right place to get something like that built and finished.
Right. Like I understand if you got a budget, a pretty healthy budget, that's one thing.
If you're getting a full car built, you're gonna have to be expecting to spend a bunch of money.
6 figures.
Yeah, 6 figures.
Headed that way.
Yeah, the hourly rate should be an afterthought. Oh, that should be an by the way, how much you charging per hour? That's fine.
Right.
Whatever. Let's get this done.
Yeah. But these are just some thoughts on the topic here. We just wanted to put this podcast together to give you guys an idea of kind of what it's like to work in a bigger or smaller shop and what kind of benefits you could see on each side. Whether you're trying to work with them or whether you're trying to get a car built, If you're trying to work, a lot of times a bigger shop isn't the route to go because they're going to put you in your niche and that's it.
Yep. What are you good at? Okay, stick to that.
Yeah. I mean, it might be nice at first. They'll bounce you around until they find out what you're good at, and then they'll stick you there for a while.
Yeah.
But also, a smaller shop, you get thrown right into the fucking fire.
Yep.
Because you're the next man on deck, basically, which is nice.
If you're fixing this and next day you got something else to fix, you're doing something different.
Yep. Next day we got to start doing body work because everything else is done. That's another benefit about a small shop, in my opinion, as far as working goes. I mean, now granted, I worked in small shops where I was doing nothing but, mechanic work, getting carburetors tuned and suspension shit and brakes and blah, blah, blah. While there was other people that were doing paint and polishing and shit like that. But I also quit those jobs and went to another place where I knew I was going to get more somewhere else.
Well, that's because you had something in mind.
Yeah.
You had an end goal.
Yeah. If you're looking to get into this business and you go to a bigger shop, I guess probably bigger or smaller, it won't matter. You shouldn't be expecting an ass load of money. Not right off the bat.
No.
And if you're looking to start learning something new, you're going to have to take a pay cut. I mean, heaven forbid. You take a pay cut until you get efficient at it over the next few months, and then they'll fucking give you a pay raise. Ask for a pay raise. Don't bitch about it until you ask about it.
Right.
And if they don't give it to you, then move down the line. Who gives a shit? Fucking expand your zip code, buddy.
Right.
You don't have to stay in the same zip code your whole fucking life. Jesus, heaven forbid. You might be able to move out of your shithole fucking town and realize that, can go do something else somewhere else. Holy fuck, people.
Follow opportunity.
Yes, follow opportunity. And if your old lady don't want to fucking move with you, well, guess what? Maybe it's time to get a new old lady. I mean, holy fuck. Just don't stick with the first fucking woman who touches your pee-pee. Come on, people. You can do a checklist and realize that, 9 out of 10, she's on the wrong side of the checklist. Go fucking build hot rods. There's my rant for this episode.
That was a good rant.
I appreciate it. It's getting late.
It's time for Elliot's rant.
Yeah. Anywho, but that's what we're shooting for here, man. Trying to give you guys some perspective, give you some life lessons too while we're at it outside of building hot rods. This is kind of a free form podcast on this episode, but we wanted to give you the nitty gritty, a little bit of detail on the bigger shops and the smaller shops, and just kind of bouncing back and forth conversation on this. And if you're looking to get a build done, you can reach out to us at any point in time and talk to us. Even if we're too far away, I don't care. Reach out and talk to us. I'll give you the rundown on what you really should be looking for and why you should be looking for it and shit like that. And how to get those answers. Or, like I said, I've worked all over the place. I can point you in the direction. Randy's worked all over the fucking place. He can point you in directions. Between the two of us, I think we got southern part of the states and the eastern part of the states, and now the Midwest part of the states covered as far as places to go get shit built or painted or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. If you have any questions, just reach out.
As always, find us on all social media outlets: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Be sure to, at the bottom of the show notes here on Spotify, to rate and to answer any questions. And if you got any topics you'd like to hear, give us an email. You can go to our website and go to the podcast tab, and at the bottom of the podcast page, you can see where you can ask us questions of what you want to hear or people you think good interview. Interviewee, whatever the hell it is.
Nailed it.
But yeah, it's I.B.F.HotRods.com. Over and out here from Elliot Slack to you guys. Here's to you guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Randy, go ahead and close her out.
Yeah, keep up on social media. We're going to have a really cool project coming up. I don't know if we've mentioned that yet, but we're going to have a pretty cool hot rod coming up that we're going to be working on. So just keep up on social media and find out what everything's going to be about. It's going to be pretty cool. So check it out. And that's pretty much it. Over and out.
Have a good week, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for listening to this episode of It's All About the Build podcast. Please comment and let us know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel to follow along, and if you haven't already, check out our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok to keep up with what we have going on every week. Thank you all for listening.